What's up, guys? Jacob here with Forge Diesel Products. Got a product spotlight I want to talk to you guys about today for your 2003 to 2007 6.0 liter Powerstrokes. This is going to be our regulated return fuel system here on my right, your left, as well as a fuel bowl delete on my left or your right. Part number for this regulated return fuel system is 37002. That's going to be just for the regulated fuel return system, and I'll explain what that does in just a moment. Part number 37003 is going to be for the fuel bowl delete that you see here. That piece is just for you guys to delete the fuel bowl on your truck, and I'll go into a little bit more elaboration there in just a moment as well. Now, if you want to get both of these kits, say you're putting on an aftermarket fuel system, you want to delete the fuel bowl from your 6.0 and keep everything cleaner looking, you want both. So that part number is going to be part number 37004. That's going to be everything you need that you see here on the table today. So to elaborate on this, guys, why you want a regulated return system on your 6.0 liter Powerstroke is because the fuel is deadheaded at the back of the engine, which I'll show you here behind in just a few moments on an installation as well. What it is there's a plug on the back of the cylinder head, and it doesn't regulate that fuel pressure or allow you to add more fuel pressure to that system. So by adding a regulator and a return to the back of the head, you can now regulate that pressure. Maybe you've added a FASS, an AirDog, an Aeromotive, a Fuel Lab, whatever fuel system you're running there, you can now regulate that pressure. These are all made from braided nylon lines. They're amazing. All AN fittings, everything that you guys need, including the bracketry to mount it up on your vehicle. So when it comes to the fuel bowl delete, that part here that we talked about is simply just to get rid of the fuel bowl up on your engine. Maybe you're trying to clean your engine bay up. You know, you've got that little piece of the filter housing that you'll see behind me here hanging off to the side, and you just want to clean that up, make everything simpler, and get rid of that. You don't want the factory fuel filter in there, whatever the reason being is. That's what you're going to do here. You can get an additional housing that we have available also that changes this over so that you can get rid of it completely. You don't have to use a saw to cut it off. If you want to do that, that's an available part as well. So behind me, I'm going to give you guys an installation video, some tips, recommendations, why you would do this to use your 6.0 liter Powerstroke, especially if you own one or look forward to getting one. All right, guys, so we're back here. Got our mock engine here on just sitting on a pallet today to show you guys how this is installed. Wanted you guys to see it because we've had a lot of complications, questions, customers concerned on how to do things ourselves. So I wanted to show you the tools you need, at least get you the basic knowledge of how this system works and why you're doing it. So I've got all of our parts behind us today. I'm going to talk about the regulated return system first by itself. Not the fuel bowl delete, just the regulated return system. So you're going to need a 6mm Allen wrench to get to the back side of the heads. I've got a socket here today. Obviously, you're going to be in an engine bay. It's going to be a little tighter. You might have to use shallower sockets, whatever it is that you need there. 10mm ratchet wrench I recommend, or you could have a socket on an electric ratchet, whatever you need there. A 17mm wrench and an 18mm wrench. So what you're going to be doing is down here on this engine, you've got your fuel lines and return off of your factory system here that is, you know, coming from and back to the tank. And then you've got your supply lines coming down to the front of the cylinder heads here and here. Okay? So you're going to take your 17mm wrench and your 18. You're going to want to break loose your fitting here on the front of your fuel filter housing. And you'll use your 10mm here to take this loose. And then your 17 is going to get on both of your banjo bolts here in the front sides of the head. That's where you're going to start, as well as another 18 up here on the fuel filter. So you get all this stuff loose first to get your lines removed that are going to the front of the cylinder head. When you're removing this, you will notice there are a couple copper washers that are down there. So be careful. They might fall down into the frame rail. You can kind of see one there in my hand. And then you're going to fish your factory line up and out of the way. You're not going to be using that anymore. You're going to go ahead and take the other line off. Take the line off, or the banjo bolt down at the head out again. You have another copper washer there. I don't know if you just seen that fall, but that's what I was talking about. And then you're going to be removing that line as well. Might not come out quite as easy for you because you're probably in the engine bay. Your engine's probably not sitting out here on, a pallet or a stand like I have today. So once you get those removed, another line that you got to get out of your way is right here. So you're going to take your 10 millimeter, you'd loosen that up. You're going to pop the front line here out. You're going to use your, actually I don't even have the wrench out for that, but I believe it's a 20 or 21 to loosen this line up. Take it, get it out of your way. You can discard of it as well. And then you will take and pull this fitting out as well here. And now we're ready to go back together with the front pieces of the regulated return fuel system. All right, so you guys first are going to need these two lines here that you see. You've got bonded washers there on this end. It's a metal washer with a rubber insert. Those are going to go down on your cylinder head. You've got a plug here. That plug goes right here where you took that line and fitting out. It's going to go into your factory return. And then you're going to need your Allen. And you will take your lines here. You're going to take and put them here into the front of the heads where you took that out. This side here is going to be pretty tight. You're going to have, especially with the truck in the bay, or the engine in the bay, it's going to be a lot tighter to get to there. You're going to take that, you're going to get it in there, and you're going to get everything tightened up. And then once you get that one tight, you can go over to this side and do the same thing. Now, I don't have all of the accessories on the front of this engine, obviously, so routing may just depend on your vehicle. If you have, some guys have dual alternators on these trucks, that's all going to make a difference. We have not test fitted this with a dual alternator truck, so I can't guarantee fitment for that right at this point in time. But once you have that through there, I'm probably going to route this through here right now. Don't know if that's the case for sure. Without it on the truck, but you would have your routing up here as you see to where they basically come together, and then you're going to tighten up both of those at the bottom. Then you still have a swivel fitting, so they still will swivel and move wherever you need them. Once you have that in place, take your plug. You're going to need an 8 millimeter Allen. That's going to go into the factory return here. You'll put that in there, tighten that up. Take your ratchet, snug everything up there as well. Those lines, once you get them up through there, you're going to take these fittings here out with your 17 millimeter is what I just had on there to get them loose. There's one on this side of the fuel bowl and one on this side. Go ahead and take those completely out. Once you have those out of there, you can take your new line, make sure you didn't get any debris or anything on it, get it started there. Now these are a little larger in diameter internally. You're probably wondering why we're changing these out. It's mainly for you guys running bigger injectors and things that want more supply to the engine itself. So if you're running like big injectors, big fuel system, a large FASS or AirDog, Aeromotive, Fuel Lab setup, you're going to want as much supply to those injectors as you can get, and that's the idea behind having a little bit larger line here. If you have that one done, you can route this one up here, get it to the other side. And like I say, guys, I'm just routing this on an engine out here in the open. This is not exactly how it's going to go in your vehicle. Once you have those supplies to the front of the heads done, we can move to the back of the engine and show you removing the plugs that are from the factory that we spoke about there earlier. So on the back side of the head, you're going to have these two plugs here and here. You're not going to be able to see those if the engine is in the truck. So obviously, feel around back here. It's going to be a lot easier to have the turbo out of your way probably to do this, no doubt. Or the cab may be pulled on your 6-liter at this time. And go ahead and pull these plugs here out at the back of the head. Like I said, I'm using a 6mm Allen. I'm using a pretty deep one. You may not be able to clear the firewall. In your case, you're going to pop those loose, take those plugs out, and this is where the fuel deadheads. So when we speak about regulated returns, what we're doing is regulating that fuel pressure from the front of the head where we just did that supply line to the back of the head here, and controlling that pressure within the cylinder head that's supplying the injectors with fuel. So if you're running a big fuel system or you know, big injectors, things like that, this is critical to you guys because you want as much fuel as you can in there, and you want to be able to control that fuel pressure because you might be anywhere from running 45 psi to, let's say you need to run 90. It really just depends on your setup and what you've got going on with your truck. This way you can control all of that through the regulator that we'll show in just a moment. So I've got these plugs out of the back of the head. There's a rubber washer on there. Make sure you remove that, as you can see here. You can discard those or set them aside for now. You're going to take your two lines. You've got a long line and another line here, and you're going to need those as well as these two fittings here. These fittings are going to go into the head. Now remind you, the turbo is not in place, neither are your up pipes, so this makes this job look a lot easier than it really is. This is going to take you a little more time than 5 seconds, like you're probably thinking, man, this guy's able to do this fast. Well, that's because a lot of things are out of my way right now. Get those in there. Get them to where everything is about where you want it. It's going to, like I say, everyone's going to be different. So it depends on what clearances are and everything. You might want to leave those loose till you have your lines in, depending. You're going to take your lines, as seen. Your short one's going to go on the driver's side head. You're going to put that in there as so, as you see. The straight fitting to that 90-degree adapter. Longer line to the passenger side. And you're going to want this stuff to all route and clear all of your turbo components. Once that is all in place, I'd leave everything kind of loose, even on the front, until you have everything in place, and then tighten everything down. You're going to have your regulator. So as you can see here, you're going to have two ports, one on each side, one on the bottom. All right. So we're going to get all this hooked up now and show you guys how that works as well. So the last things you have left, like I said, you'll put your bracket onto your regulator, tighten those up with a really small Allen, get that tight so the bracket's tight. You've got this line with this quick connect fitting that's going to go down here in the replace that factory line here that we took off. I don't know if you remember this line. Took that off. See that? Identical. So that's going to clip right down here into your factory location once you get this routed. So you're going to take your threads there. It goes in the very bottom of this. Get that on there. You'll still have to tighten that up. Like I said, leave everything a little bit loose until you've got everything in place. It's going to save you guys a lot of headaches. So I'm just going to throw this in here today. I will slide it on this stud just for simplicity to show you guys. And then you've still got two pieces here that you're going to have to route. Make sure, like I said, you're clearing everything temperature-wise so that nothing can get hot. You're going to put one on one side of the regulator. Route this one, whichever way that has to go. Maybe it's got to go across here, down through here, so you don't have as much heat, and back in. Whatever works for you that looks the cleanest, that makes you happy on your setup. And then you're going to tighten that up on this other side of the regulator. Get those in there, get everything tightened up. Now I'm going to move on to the next part of the system though. But before I do that real quick, obviously you'll be required to set your pressure with your fuel system on, key on, engine off. You do that by loosening this nut here and adjusting this Allen in the top. You have to set the fuel pressure where it is recommended by whoever is supplying your, your oil injection pump or your high pressure oil pump, as you guys call it, and maybe your injector size. Those are going to be the things that's going to tell you what you need to set your fuel pressure at. And you might ask your injector supplier, whoever that may be, what they recommend the fuel pressure being set at. Tell them you're running a regulated fuel system on your truck, and you just want to know where you should be set up at. All right, guys, so I want to show you the fuel bowl delete now. Totally separate, or if you bought the complete kit, as we said, that's going to come with everything you need that you've seen on the table, but maybe you already had a regulated return system. Now you're deciding to do a fuel bowl delete. So there's two ways this can be done. One way is actually three ways technically that this can be done. You can leave this factory filter housing up here. You can just disconnect, your lines that are on here. Take those out. So those are going to come off. Going to come out of the front of the head. If you've already installed this, that is. If you've got the complete kit, you don't even need to worry about what I'm doing right now, because you would have received the lines that I'm about to show you, which are replacements for these here that we put on a moment ago. Got those two lines out of our way now. Now I want to show you guys the other two lines real quick. They're going to look like so. One's going to be a hair bit longer than the other, but they're both identical. Your short line is going to go on the driver's side, long line on the passenger side. But before I do that, I want to explain when I said three options here. So you can leave this on here if you wanted to. Looks really goofy. I don't recommend it. Your next option is, I see a lot of guys pull the Torx bolts out that hold the oil filter housing on once they have the oil filter out and everything's drained back. If you don't do that, you're going to make a mess. You're going to have oil all in the valley. So make sure you pull the oil filter top out and replace that. Or not replace it, but take it out, take the filter out so that it drains back all the oil into the oil pan. Once you have that done, you can pull this housing off, or you could leave it on here. I've seen guys leave it on here, and you can hack this part off with a hacksaw, a sawzall, and take this fuel filter piece off of here. That's one way. In my terms, we call that redneck. Does it work? Yes, it's great. Does what you want to do. It's cheap. But the downfall to that is, and at that time, you would also remove this line here, remind you. So your original supply line would also come out of there. You're going to take that whole line up and out of there now and out of your way. Or another option that we have for you guys is you can replace this entire housing with the 6.4 liter style housing, which is virtually identical, but doesn't have the fuel filter hanging off the side. That way it looks like a clean install. You don't have to worry about any of that sawing, cutting. You're worried about getting into the intake, a sensor, wiring, whatever that is. It's really easier to put the 6.4 liter style filter housing on there. I would highly recommend that. That's my recommendation. But if you want to do the redneck way, just cut it off or leave it on there, and it's just totally going to be in your way doing nothing. So back to these lines, longer line, shorter line. Longer line, once again, I'm going to route it this way. Every vehicle is going to be different. That doesn't mean that this is correct. You might even, like I said, have to go out here on the outside. But you're going to put that longer line, get it started in the front of the head, just like we've seen the last time. Make sure you guys don't cross thread these either. Just get them snugged up once you get them in there. Finger tight gets you good. Past that, just a nice slight tug with a wrench, nothing crazy, and they're tightened up. They're plenty good as long as you don't leak. Now you've got a long line here again. You're going to route it, depending, obviously you may have this on here, you may not. You got to route it, whatever way is going to be the best. It's going to come down here as so. Gotta find my other line. Here's my other line that I just set up there. It's gonna go to the other side of the front of the head. Now you've got that Y block right here. That is going to go into both of these. This is your new supply to the front of the head. So say you're running a FAST, an AirDog, an Aeromotive, a Fuel Lab, whatever fuel system that is. This is what gets you hooked up to get direct supply, not going through the fuel bowl, because there can be restriction here in the fuel bowl. That's a lot of reason why guys delete it and get rid of it. And they go this route with the fuel bowl delete. That way you got full, bigger supply line going to the front of the heads to supply those bigger injectors. There you go. Your Y is installed. You're going to mount it down here on the side. Try to keep everything away from the manifolds, as you should know. Common sense. You got a brass fitting here. It's going to go on this side. Now all that's in there hand tight. Tighten it up. Get everything snugged up. Make sure it's clear and everything. Nothing's hidden. Route it how you want. Zip tie it. Whatever you need to do there. And you're good to go. Last thing is, we send you guys new supply line. This is to go to your fuel system. So whether, like I said, FAST, AirDog, Fuel Lab, Aeromotive, I don't care what brand it is. This is a supply line. This goes to this brass fitting. It's a barbed fitting. You're going to push that on. From here back, you guys have to get anything if there's any additional things that you would need to adapt together. A lot of FAST systems are going to use the same size. You're just going to push to connect. A lot of AirDog stuff is very similar or the same. Some things, though, you may have to do your own setup. So once you have it on this end, like I said, you get down, route this along your frame, however you have that routed, and then your other end is going to connect to your fuel system. So I hope that helps you guys out. I know this is very confusing, can be very confusing, I should say. Hopefully this cleared up a lot of questions. If you have any additional questions, never hesitate to give us a call, and you guys will really appreciate this system. It's clean, it's nice, it looks great. Like I said, just avoid any moving components, hot components. Make sure you route everything correctly, get it installed, make your truck look good, and now you guys can go out there and make some power. You'll find this product through retailers like ZZ Diesel, so you can go to their website, zzdiesel.com.